everybody, Andrew Rice out here at the Western Savannah Harbor Resort. Beautiful summer's day. Thanks for tuning in. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that really should be very important to you, and it's how to practice. How can you take some great technical knowledge and convert that ultimately into lower scores? How do you become a better golfer? I often hear the term on TV bandied about by golf commentators where they talk about each player has got their own fingerprint, their own DNA. Well, how do we change our DNA as a golfer and ultimately become significantly better? I think when you look at it, we've got to spend some time working on our technique. We've got to spend time taking ownership of technical upgrades. We've also got to spend time developing skill. I think skill is vastly underrated in golf instruction circles simply because it's nothing that can be videotaped. We can't look at it on a screen and say, look how much skill that position in the golf swing illustrates. So it's nothing we can touch, it's nothing tangible, but it's very real, trust me. And then thirdly, we've got to have that ability to be able to execute golf shots when we simply need to hit them. And that's why I've come up with a very simple practice formula, and I call it swing, skill, shot. And this series on practicing is going to be broken up into those three segments: swing, skill, and shot. In swing, we're going to look at how to go about working on your golf swing, how to improve your technique. In skill, we're going to talk about stepping outside the lines and learning to do new, different, innovative, perhaps sometimes crazy things with your technique. And in shot, we're going to talk about how to practice to bridge the gap between technical and skill development, ultimately taking that to the golf course and bridging that gap and converting those upgrades into lower scores. So let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about swing, technique, and this can apply. I do want to state this. Use this as a filter for each segment, each portion of your game, because you can filter chipping practice through this. You can filter putting practice. You can filter driving practice. Any part of any genre of the game that you're going to be practicing, you can filter through this swing, skill, shot. Let's take a look at swing. Now, all I've got here is I've got an 8-iron. I've got an alignment aid on the ground. A good habit to build into, something that's certainly going to help you develop some good habits. But what I'm going to look for here, and the image I want you to have when you're working on your swing, is there's a camera focused on you. For example, if I were to hit a shot out of view, you couldn't see ultimately where the ball ends up or how it flies, but you can certainly see the look and the shape of my form. So when you're working on your swing, you're really practicing as if the camera is focused solely on you. We're not super duper interested in the ball flight. We're really looking to take ownership of these changes. So as a result, I like to practice, get my students to practice. I really don't practice very much, but I like to get my students to practice with either a 7 or an 8-iron when they're working on making technical upgrades. So I've got an 8-iron in my hand, and let's say I'm working on getting my hands to travel in through impact. So I'm really trying to feel like my lead side rotates up and through the shot. I'm going to do a few of these. I'm really going to try to get a sense for that rotation. Then I'll hit a couple, just trying to feel that same thing through the head. Not trying to hit it too hard, but I'm just going to pull up a couple of balls and try to mix in a good dose of practice swings, feels, a couple of drills if you've got them. One of the things I like to do is I always like to have an alignment rod pegged in the ground right between the ball and the target. I'm just going to take a shot at this. Generally we'll make sure it is right between the ball and the target, but just trying to get a feel for, okay, I like to hit little baby fades. So here I might feel, okay, hands traveling up and in, really trying to get a feel for that. And here we go. Okay, a little bit of a pull. It started left and stayed there, but I think you get the idea. So I am going to dedicate a portion of my practice time. Your practice time might be 15 golf balls. Your practice time might be 15 minutes, it might be an hour. However you want to break it up, but I would like for you to touch each of these three filters when you're practicing, and that is swing, skill, and shot. I think you've got a good idea as to what we're looking for when it comes to swing. Not a tremendous amount of shots, a lot of repetition, a lot of feel. Perhaps even if you've got a mirror, that would be a fantastic addition to your swing segment of practice. Give it a try. Check back soon for how to practice and improve, develop your skill set.